And welcome back to The Real Story with Brian Miller. On the line, we have Officer Van Hove from the Chicago Police Department here to talk about some crazy hotel mystery out of central Pennsylvania. How you doing today, officer?
I'm doing real good. How are you, Brian?
I'm good. So let's jump right into it. What can you tell us about this mystery?
Well, back in 1994, I happened to be down in Williamsport, Pennsylvania with my son to watch a Little League World Series. And I ended up meeting this young officer, Ray Combs. I introduced myself to him, let him know that I'm from Chicago, and I was a cop, etc. And we just hit it off. It was like brothers in blue. And we became really good friends, still are to this year. But the amazing thing is, about a year ago, he calls me up out of the blue. He tells me that he found this tape. And on the tape, it was an interrogation of this one young kid. And he goes on to explain that this detective's talking to him. All of a sudden, this kid turns around and looks at the video. And the next thing you know, this detective's dead. I'm like, come on, really, Ray? Come on. He says, Tommy, you got to see it. So he sends me this tape. I play it. I couldn't believe it. My mouth dropped. This is probably one of the most incredible things I ever seen. And he was right. This detective is interviewing this young kid about a friend of his that went missing from this Hotel 32. And this kid turns around and he looks at the camera, and this kid's got the weirdest look on his face. It's like you're looking at a stone pillar. Turns around. The next thing you know, you see this detective who, his name was Detective Kaminsky. He's dead. Just flat out dropped dead. And this kid gets up, walks right out of the room like nothing happened. Really creepy stuff.
You've been a cop in Chicago for 30 plus years. I'm sure you've seen your fair share of craziness. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, and you're right. 30 years being a cop, you do see so much. But I got to tell you, this is probably the one bizarre thing that I've ever seen. I watched that tape probably 25 to 35 times, just over and over and over, trying to pick out things. Is this real? Is it a fake? And my conclusion was, this is obviously a real interview, that something just went bad. Something happened, and this poor detective died.
What do you think happened to the detective? Do you think he actually had an aneurysm, like the police reports say, or do you think it was something a little more sinister?
Well, I'm not a doctor, and it'd be tough for me to say exactly what it was. In my mind, it could be a number of things. Yeah, maybe he had an aneurysm. Maybe he had a heart attack. Maybe there's something more sinister to this incident that we just don't know about.
So you mentioned that this kid literally just gets up out of the room and walks out of the interrogation. Is this a cold case file? Is anyone still looking into this stuff?
Well, according to what Ray told me, they had happened to be moving from one location, the police station, from one location to another. And when he found this, it was in like a cold case file. So it appeared that after this incident happened, they did a quick investigation of some sort. They couldn't figure out what happened, and they just kind of buried it. Now, I don't know if they're still investigating it today. I have no idea about that.
It just seems kind of strange that this kid literally could walk out of a secure police location and then never be heard from again.
Yeah, it really was. And the another bizarre thing about it is nobody saw this kid leave. According to what Ray said, that all the doors were locked, and you could only get in and out through a buzzer. They have videotape of the police station, various hallways, back doors, front doors, normal security type things. And nobody saw this kid leave. As a matter of fact, nobody saw the other kid leave because he just left too. Unbelievable.
Why do you think Ray sent you this video? I mean, you're a retired cop now. What about this case compels you to keep looking into it?
Well, Ray knows that my stepdaughter, Kelly Madison, is in the film industry. And he thought that maybe she could look into it, or it would be a a good line for a story. So I had called Kelly up. I told her what I have. I sent her the tape. She saw it. She couldn't believe it. And she said, yeah, we should follow up on this. So this is what we're doing. We're trying to find out urban legend or is it truth? And I'm tending to believe this is really happening here.
Yeah, I understand that you actually went to the city of Williamsport to look into this.
Yes, we did. About a year ago also, Kelly and I, we flew down to Williamsport, saw Ray again, and it's really strange. He was telling us about Hotel 32. You know, is this some type of urban legend? Is it a myth? Did it really happen? Well, we started interviewing a lot of people down in Williamsport. And I will say this, Brian, there was a ton of people that knew about Hotel 32, now it's Hotel 33 when this kid went missing. A lot of these people didn't want to talk to us. It was like it was taboo for them to even mention anything. But the people that did talk to us, they were pretty much like, hey, I'm finally glad to see that somebody's going to do something about this.
So I'm going to stop you right there. Just can you fill us in a little more about this legend of Hotel 32?
Sure. Legend has it that back in 1953, they built this grand hotel in Williamsport, and 32 people were in this hotel, and that included hotel guests and hotel employees. And the next day, everyone was missing, gone, just vanished. There wasn't a sign of any struggle anywhere. Nothing was disturbed. It was these people were just gone. Now, in 1993, this hotel was boarded up after this incident. It was vacant for years. But in 1993, this guy decided he was going to reopen it as a tourist attraction with the theme of it being haunted. Well, these three young kids, they were friends. They made a bet with each other to see who could spend the night in the hotel, who could last the longest. And they were videotaping everything. Well, the next day, two guys were there, and their one friend vanished. Again, into thin air. So this is where the investigation kind of picked up, where Detective Kaminsky was interviewing one of the friends, and where he unfortunately met his demise interrogating this one kid that just vanished along with his other friend.
Now let's go back to your trip to Williamsport.
Yeah, my stepbrother and I, Kelly, we went to Williamsport. We met Ray, and it's nice to see him again after all this while. And we were discussing the incident with Detective Kaminsky and the legend of Hotel 32. And Ray, he happened to have the file of Detective Kaminsky. And they had the names of the kids, they had all the paperwork, and they had the medical report of how he died, and it said they listed it as an aneurysm. Well, again, I don't really believe it was an aneurysm. I think there was something more nefarious going on here. So when I say we, Kelly and I interviewed quite a number of people who lived in Williamsport that had either had family that went missing back in 1953, and it's kind of funny because a lot of the people either didn't want to talk to it. It appeared to be like a taboo subject for them, and some people that we found had relatives that vanished, and they were telling us stories that was told to them through the years. They were happy that someone is finally going to be investigating these disappearances, and they kind of want to get to the bottom of it too, just like we do.
Did you guys actually end up going up to the site when you were up there?
Oh boy, Yes, we did. Let me tell you something. Was that freaky? The site's on the outskirts of town, and when we were driving up there, we were with Ray, and he kept telling us, he's not getting a good feeling about this. He doesn't like going up there. It frightens him too. And we finally get to where the hotel used to be. There's really nothing there now. It's just a big open field. There's no remnants. And Ray wouldn't go in with us. He didn't. He kind of just stayed on the path. So Kelly and I were just scouting around, and I kind of went to the left. Kelly went to the right. Kelly yells to me, "Hey, I think I found something." And I turn around, I look at her, and she's walking towards Ray. Now, Ray was standing behind me probably a good 100 feet, and he was watching us walking out to this field. Well, all of a sudden, Kelly starts screaming, "Tommy, Tommy." And I turn around, Ray's got his back to us. I start running towards Ray. I couldn't believe it. Scared the living daylights out of me. He has his gun pointed under his chin. And he's just stone face like a pillar. I ran up to him. I grabbed the gun. I put my hand over the slide so it wouldn't go off. We were able to wrestle him to the ground, get the gun away from him. And God, he had the strength of Samson. He was just so strong. And a couple minutes later, he finally came through, and we're laying on the ground, and he says, "What happened?" I said, "What do you mean, what happened? You had your gun pointed underneath your chin." He had no recollection of that whatsoever. And after he calmed down, we were all pretty shaken up pretty well about that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so after we wrestled Ray to the ground, I was able to get the gun away from him, and he's out of it for a couple minutes. He's just like stoned. So when he finally comes out, and he says, "What happened?" And I told him what happened. I said, "Man, you had your gun under your chin, buddy." He said, "I have absolutely no recollection of that." And then he said, "I told you, I don't like coming up here." Well, that kind of broke the ice, and we really relaxed after that. But I'll tell you, it scared the living hell out of me. I've never seen something like that.
Now, after this crazy experience up there with the officer pulling a gun on himself and everything, what do you think about this story? Do you think it's got some merit to it?
I think it's got a lot of merit. There's just too many people in Williamsport that know about it, that have related the story to us, that had family members that have gone missing, and even the people that didn't want to talk to us about it, you could tell that there was something there. They were obviously really, really frightened, and they just wanted to put it out of their minds, just go on with life. Yeah, so I think there's something to it.
All right, so after being up at the site and experiencing all this craziness, I'm sure your reaction to the story's changed.
Yes, it has, and let me tell you why. I believe there's something behind this. 1953, 32 people go missing. 1993, a kid goes missing, all from the same hotel. A detective dies in the interview. There's something there. I want to find it, and I want to prove that this is actually true.
Do you think something supernatural is at play here?
Well, Brian, I didn't believe in the supernatural prior to this, but after looking at all the evidence and the facts here, I certainly believe there was something unexplained occurrence that happened, and I'm leading really to this being a supernatural occurrence of some type.
Well, we're out of time. I just want to thank you extensively for being with us today. Keep us posted if you have any more information that pops up here at The Real Story.
Brian, I certainly will. Thank you for having me, and you have a great day.
You too. Thank you again.